Hey guys, welcome back to the United Star, and we have Doeke with us to talk about Norwich City, a club that went down the last season but produced fabulous numbers in the championship and probably had one of the best seasons a team has had. So, Doeke, how about you tell us a bit about the transition that we can expect from Norwich, or what you saw in the last season versus what we saw during their time in the Premier League?
I think we can expect Norwich to be a lot better defensively. I think the last time we went up, we won the championship where Pukki scored 29 goals in 2018-19. We did also concede 60 plus goals, which is remarkable for a side that I think it was something like 60 plus goals. I'm not 100% sure, but something like that. And that's remarkable for a side that has gone on to win the championship to concede that number of goals. But this season, we've had the additions of Dimitri Giannoulis and Ben Gibson come in, and defensively have looked a lot stronger. However, going forward, I know for a fact we're going to be a lot weaker this season, which doesn't help us because we didn't score a lot of goals last time we went to the league. Obviously, losing Buendia to Aston Villa now is a massive, massive loss.
Yeah, and before we get into the full transfer market and so on and so forth, what do you see in the change in the style of play for Norwich? I mean, when I think about Norwich, the first thing I think about was the game that you guys beat Manchester City when you guys were in the Premier League, and the way that turned out, and Teemu Pukki being, let's say, somewhat like a Jamie Vardy when it comes to scoring goals and having that insane run within the Premier League. Do you think the goals have now been distributed amongst the side? Is it still only Teemu Pukki that you guys focus on? How has the style of play changed significantly for Norwich?
Yeah, no, I do think it has changed. Obviously, we've got like sort of a front four in towards the back end of the championship that were all contributing with goals left, right, and centre. Obviously, you have Kieran Dow sitting in the 10. He's been remarkable since coming into the starting 11 in the back end of the season. Obviously, we have Emi Buendia on the right, who was Championship Player of the Season, Player of the Season, and he was fantastic. And he's the best player I've ever seen there in Norwich. And obviously, we have Todd Cantwell on the left. The Deerum Deco, we call him. He was fantastic as well. And then Pukki's still contributing with goals, but Pukki wasn't in the limelight as much. He wasn't even in the top three club player of the seasons for us. So it just shows that Norwich, I think, are more of an all-rounded team now compared to just relying on one man. So I think we'll see a lot more individuals come to the limelight in the Premier League for Norwich City. It's just hoping that they'll have the ability to up this time.
Yeah, I think you've said it spot on. And, I was really excited to talk about the Buendia situation, but that cleared out after he decided to go to Aston Villa. But there are other names in there that I know, being a United fan, I wouldn't mind seeing them at United. For example, the likes of Todd Cantwell or Max Aarons. I know Max Aarons is a left back that everyone is seeking to get, or a wing back that everyone's seeking to get. Do you think these players will still stick around because you guys have made the transition to the Premier League, or do you see the bigger clubs coming in and poaching these younger talents?
See, if you had asked me before Buendia moved to Aston Villa, I would have said, yeah, we will keep hold of him. But now I am a bit more worried with Buendia leaving. But I think Buendia was he was going to move last summer, but I think we managed to convince him to stay for a season. He's left. But I think the like Cantwell and Max Aarons, I believe we'll be able to keep hold of them. I think Max Aarons has obviously been linked away to numerous clubs like Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Manchester United, obviously, as well. And we've still managed to keep hold of him, and I'm quite confident we could do it again. And he's guaranteed Premier League minutes at Norwich City, and he's our starting right back. He knows the philosophy. He loves playing under Daniel Farke, similar to Todd Cantwell. He's Norwich born and bred as well. Through the academy, the pair of them actually as well. They know what it means to play for Norwich City, and they've got. You can tell they've got that love and that respect for the. And that they'll want to play for the club as well, which is another reason why I think we'll probably keep hold of them this summer. But if we go down, we'll be seeing a lot of faces exit Norwich City.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. No player wants to keep taking a step down and up continuously. And there are some players. I remember, I think Todd Cantwell scored a goal against United where he took a beautiful shot outside the D during the time in the Premier League, and I was super impressed. But you took the manager's name, obviously, Daniel Farke, and you guys stayed put with him after, I would say, what was a horrendous season in the Premier League, maybe a bit too early for you guys. What changes have you seen in his management and the way that he started to grow as a manager at your club?
I think it's just him adapting to the English game, really. In the first season that Daniel Farke came in, we were horrific in the championship. We finished 14th. We lost 4-0 to Millwall that season. But we just stuck with him. We stuck with our guns because he had to adapt to the English game. And, it took him one season to adapt to the championship, and we won it the next season. Obviously, he had one season in the Premier League, and it's a different ball game, the Championship to the Premier League. The quality difference, the speed of play, the style of play is completely different to the Championship. So he's obviously had a season there to try and adapt. Obviously, it worked. But obviously, when we went back down to the Championship, it just showed that Daniel Farke had already adapted to this league and could absolutely walk it. And hopefully, this time in the Premier League, Daniel Farke knows what to do. He's adapted to the style of the Premier League and can keep us up. And talking about Daniel Farke, I'm so surprised the bigger club hasn't snapped him up. He's an incredible manager. The talent that he's brought through, and he's made a 1.5 million pound Buendia turn into pretty much a 40 million pound Buendia. It's incredible what he's done at Norwich.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, and it's pretty surprising. All the sides that are coming up, whether you look at Brentford or you look at Norwich, and their stars are going for like 40 million when they purchase them for 2 or 3 million, which just shows the kind of management that you guys have at your club. But talking more about your team, if I had to say, let's say I give you an open table of Manchester United's players that are there, preferably the youth. Who would you think would fit in well and have a good season at Norwich? Do you think more of the younger guns like James Garner, or would you like Jesse Lingard dancing around at your stadium?
I was going to say Bruno Fernandes because we do really need a centre attacking midfielder, but I think that's a bit out of the question. He's too good for us. But honestly, Jesse Lingard, I would find at Norwich City. I think he would suit us very, very well. We are looking for a new number 10 as well, someone of Premier League quality. So, I'd say Jesse Lingard. I'd happily have him at Norwich.
So would you do a deal of Jesse Lingard that way and Max Aarons to us? We've got a deal if you're ready to do that.
Absolutely not. I can't let Max Aarons go. Absolutely not.
So just to touch upon the last things, if we have to look at Norwich City, as you mentioned, obviously a number 10 is something that you're looking for. Where else do you think you guys can strengthen? Because you did mention that the defensive line has got better. Tim Krul is obviously a solid keeper back there. How would you improve the side? Or how can you predict what the changes would look like?
So I think there's a number of positions that Norwich need to improve in. And one is defensive midfield. We've got, obviously, on the wing as well, we need someone to replace Buendia. We need a number 10. We need a backup striker, someone of Premier League quality. We still need another centre-half just to make up the squad depth. So there's various positions. I listed 5 players. I can still remember them off the back of my head. One of them being Matthias Pereira of West Brom, who's valued at 15 million with an absolute steal. Danjuma Grunewald from Bournemouth. Obviously, he's a Premier League quality player, absolutely tore up the Championship. And with Bournemouth staying down, it could give other clubs an opportunity to snatch him up. Yeah. Oliver Skipp is another one that Norwich fans really, really want back. I'm a huge fan of Oliver Skipp, and he has been spotted house hunting in Norwich as well. So I think that might be on the cards. And then either Josh King or Adam Armstrong. Josh King obviously is at Everton, hasn't really played any football. He's going free. It's just his wages are a bit high, and it's just whether Norwich are willing to pay that. Or Adam Armstrong at strike. Obviously, he's been banging in the goals for Blackburn in the Championship, and hopefully we could maybe snatch him up. And then a centre half as well, just to build up the squad depth. And that would be Christopher Ager of Celtic.
It's pretty interesting. All the players that you've mentioned are all either in the Championship or below, which is pretty surprising. So do you expect any big names coming in as loans in terms of the kids from, let's say, the top 10 in the Premier League?
I think the only one I can see happening is probably Oliver Skipp. Apart from that, I can't really see us going for those sort of players. With Norwich, we tend to sign hidden gems. So we'll probably sign someone that I've never heard of, and he'll turn out to be, the Emi Buendia, exactly what Emi Buendia did. Obviously, we sold James Maddison for 25 million that summer, and all Norwich fans were like, "Oh, we're going to get rated this season." We signed Emi Buendia for 1.5 million from Getafe, and we're like, we don't know who he is. What can he do? And turns out to be the best ever player to have played for Norwich. So with Norwich City, it's such a roller coaster of a ride, because we could our recruitment system is so different to other clubs. We sign just these hidden gems that no one's ever heard of, and it's so exciting.
That's completely true. So to ask you one of the last questions, how do you see the next season panning out? Do you think it'll be something similar to the last time you were in the Premier League? Do you think you guys can pull off a Leeds maybe, or a Sheffield United? How do you see things happening?
I really want to see Norwich do well in the Premier League. Us selling Buendia, I just can't see it happening, and it really does annoy me, because obviously we've gone up to the Premier League and the goal is to stay up. We're shooting ourselves in the foot so early on by selling our best player. It really does depend how the summer transfer window goes. If we sign the players that I pre-mentioned, then by all means I will have full belief that we could stay up and potentially do a Sheffield United or Leeds. But in the current moment of time, I think it's going to be relegation again for Norwich City.
Yeah, and what I found really hysterical about the transfer about Buendia is he's gone to a rival. I mean, when you look at it, Aston Villa could probably well be in the relegation fight next season. You never know with Grealish leaving. He's probably going in there to fill in that slot. So sending him to a rival could put a big question mark. I mean, would you have preferred him going to Arsenal instead?
No, I wouldn't. I think the thing is with Aston Villa, you can see there's clear improvements there. If they do keep hold of Grealish, the front four that Aston Villa have, Ollie Watkins, Grealish, Traore, Buendia, that's a front four that could potentially challenge for Europe. Arsenal are a constant demise at the minute. And with Arsenal fan TV, they like to slander the players on there. It's kind of like, I don't really want Buendia going there. Aston Villa, like you say, are technically our rival. There is every chance that we could even finish above them next season. So is that. But I think that Aston Villa are ever improving, and I think there is a really good project there at Villa. And I really hope Buendia succeeds there. But yeah.
The only reason I asked you that was because I thought I'd like to hear some Arsenal hate from someone else, and it wasn't just me repeating that. That was the only reason for that question.
That's brilliant.
But that's really interesting. So to sum it up, I think if you had to predict something right now, which position do you see Norwich ending with? Let's say you get 3 players that you mentioned out of the 5. How do you see Norwich's season panning out then?
Now that Daniel Farke has adapted to the Premier League, I feel like the season under his belt, he knows what he done wrong last time, and hopefully he can correct this time. I'm going to say I'd be happy with 16th. 16th.
Yeah, just making 16th.
Yeah, just keeping in the league, and hopefully, we'll sign some players the following season that can help us push. But yeah, 16th. That's me being optimistic, but I think we'll finish 16th.
Yeah, I think that is a high possibility. The only hope that I have is Tim Krul does not become a Manuel Neuer against us. For some reason, he always does pull off something against Manchester United. But guys, you've heard what we think about Norwich and, their past season, which was exceptional. I mean, they were one of the best championship teams to be promoted. And you've heard what Doeke had to say as well. And we'll put in his channel name and link in the description below. Do check it out. It's some great content. I love watching it. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.